I'm Elizabeth Ledoux. I'm the founder and the co-owner of the Transition Strategists. For 3 decades, I've been working with families to help them transition their family businesses and their family assets well to their next generation. And today, I'm here to share our program called Evolve with you that I'm so excited about because we're helping families around the country and around the world with transitioning well. Most business owners I work with don't wake up thinking, I need to work on my transition. They wake up thinking, I'm not ready yet. Things are too busy. I'll deal with that later. Or quietly, I don't want to open that can of worms. And here's the truth. Transition work isn't about being ready to leave. It's about being ready to come and care enough to design what comes next. Because whether you plan for it or not, your transition is already underway. The only question is whether it happens by default or by design. I've sat with families who did everything right financially and lost each other relationally. I've also watched families, imperfect, human, emotional families, walk forward together with clarity, dignity, and trust. The difference wasn't intelligence, it wasn't company size, it wasn't even timing. The difference was intention. This work is about preserving relationships, creating clarity instead of confusion, passing something forward, not just letting something go. Because legacy without harmony is just inheritance with consequences. Over decades of work at the Transition Strategists, we've learned something essential. Successful transitions follow principles, not formulas. And here are 4 transition principles that we believe matter most. The first principle, principle 1, it's a journey, not an event. There's no finish line, especially if you're thinking about creating a multi-generational kind of an inheritance or business. There really is no finish line. Transition is not a date on the calendar. It's not a one-time decision. It's a living strategy, one that adapts as people grow, markets change, and life happens. The goal is not certainty. The goal is direction, alignment, and resilience. When families treat transition as a journey, they make better decisions and they make them together. Principle 2, passing forward, not letting go. This isn't about stepping aside. It's about passing something forward with intention, wisdom, context, responsibility, choice. Letting go creates loss. Passing forward creates continuity. And continuity is what allows a business and a family to move forward without breaking. Principle 3, Transition 3.0, designing together. We coined this phrase, Transition 3.0, and I want to talk about the first 2 versions before we talk about version 3.0. Transition 1.0, you do the planning, whether it's estate or business transition, you do all the planning. You don't talk about it. Everyone finds out later. That's Transition 1.0. Transition 2.0, you do all the planning on your own. You tell people what will happen, but they have no voice in it. Both of these versions create compliance. Neither one create commitment. Transition 3.0 is different. You invite people in while you design, you curate the future together, and you give context before consequences. This is not about giving up control at all. It's about gaining alignment. Principle number 4, a clear next adventure for everyone. Transition isn't just about you, and it isn't just about your next adventure. It's about everyone you serve. It's about the successors who will live with whatever decisions you make today, the employees who built their careers around this business, the partners, the customers, the communities who rely on its continuity. Founders need a next adventure that pulls them forward, not one that leaves a vacuum behind. And successors, they need one too. Not just a role to step into, but a compelling, exciting next adventure that happens to be coming into the business instead of them leaving the business like you are. They need clarity about what they're being invited into, why it matters to them personally, and how they will grow, lead, and make it their own someday. When the future only works for one person, the transition doesn't work at all. So this is exactly why we created Evolve, the transition program at the Transition Strategists. Evolve is fully virtual, it's application-based, and it's intentionally designed for families who are ready to move forward with intention. Each month, we accept up to 8 families into the program. And that limit matters to us, not because of scarcity, but because transition work requires focus, depth, and the ability to truly serve each family well. Every family-owned or privately held business completes an application process, and we do that for one reason: to ensure that this program is right for you and that we can meaningfully help you design your transition roadmap and begin your implementation in a relatively short period of time. This is not about theory. It's about designing with intention a transition that actually works for you, your business, and your family. Our outcomes reflect that focus. We have over a 90% success rate with families walking forward together and businesses and assets successfully transitioning into the next generation hands. The Evolve framework works across complexity too. Small and large enterprises, operating businesses, investment and financial structures, active owners and passive stakeholders, and even with families that have some tension within the family around this transition. If there are people involved and a future to design, Evolve is built for that. Evolve is a 12-month commitment because meaningful transition doesn't happen in a moment. Over the course of the year, you meet one-on-one with your guide every single month. You intentionally bring your successor into the process when you're ready. It could be at the beginning, the middle, or towards the end. And together you explore not just what you want, but what they value, what matters in their lives, and how they want to steward what they will live with in the future. Many of our families design their transition roadmap in as little as 90 days, and then they start into their implementation. By the end of the year, the goal is clear: a complete roadmap, alignment between your transitioners and your successors, and for most families, implementation already underway. You'll also participate in interactive virtual group coaching sessions led by me, Elizabeth Ledoux, alongside my successor and partner, Andrea Carpenter. Most importantly, you'll leave with something rare: a living roadmap, not a binder, not a document on a shelf, a strategy that evolves as life unfolds for you. Now, I want to ask you to pause with me for just a moment, not to decide and not to commit to anything, but just to reflect honestly for yourself. If nothing changed over the next 5 years, would this still end well for you? Would the people you care about say this transition was done with them or to them? If your successor were sitting beside you right now, would they feel prepared or pressured? If the business, these assets, and these relationships are meant to outlast you, are you being as intentional with the human side as you've been with the financial side? I want you to know one thing: you don't need clarity to begin this process, and you don't need agreement, and you don't need a timeline. The work starts exactly where you are. Transition done well is one of the most meaningful acts of leadership you'll ever take. It preserves relationships, it creates dignity, it allows you to move forward without having or leaving damage behind. If you're feeling a little pull right now, curiosity, maybe responsibility, even a little discomfort, that's not pressure. What that's called is awareness. And that's exactly where meaningful transition begins. We've created Evolve for families and privately held businesses who don't want to leave this to chance. For leaders who want a clear living roadmap instead of assumptions, alignment instead of silence, and momentum instead of delay. You don't have to be ready to step away. You don't need all the answers. You just need the willingness to explore what's possible. we invite you to explore Evolve. You can learn more and complete the application at transitionstrategist.com/evolve. I invite you to explore, to apply, and see if this is the right next step for you, your family, and the people you serve. Because the best transitions, they don't happen later. They begin now with intention.